Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chamber. So today we will be comparing the RTX 4090 head on against the old king, the 6900 XT. Now we are just going to be comparing Warzone 2 numbers here. I've done a full comparison of many other games and benchmarks. If you guys are interested, you can go back a couple of videos and look at that. But Warzone 2 was not out at the time of me filming that video. I think it was time to just go back and see, do you really need a new GPU for Warzone 2? Now, I really honestly wasn't going to do this video at first until I had people in my Discord such as Jedi being like, bro, 6900 XT is faster, 6900 XT is faster, and them not having these cards to test. And I thought, I have both these cards, why not I test them? So today we are going to be going over some test results that I have done in benchmarks, and also why I will never be throwing the 6900 XT back in my system again. I had so many issues with this 6900 XT. It's insane. It's honestly disgusting how bad AMD's drivers are, especially compared to NVIDIA's. Just in case you're wondering, my test rig, my fully overclocked 12700K, DDR4, all that stuff, the graphics clocks, they were both power unlimited overclocked. The 4090 here was running at, I believe, around 30-45 megahertz in games, with plus 1775 on the VRAM. Then the 6900 XT here is running the driver only version. This is the OC Foremost. This does also 1.2 volts on the core, and I was doing 2700 megahertz minimum, 2800 megahertz maximum, 2150 on the VRAM with fast timings. Without further ado, let's just go and talk about some benchmarks. So starting off here with the Modern Warfare 2 built-in benchmark. This is honestly just a great way to kind of go over and look at some things. As you can see, first of all, the 6900 XT is 74% GPU bound here, while the 4090 is only 1% GPU bound, aka I'm fully CPU bound here. Getting about a little over 500 FPS on the GPU part of the benchmark, where on the 6900 XT I'm getting 361. These are both insanely high, and that's something you will notice. You're getting about 378 versus 363. Looking back at it, I definitely should have kind of fixed some of the FPS, but yep, not insanely different FPS though. The lows are significantly higher on the NVIDIA card though, and that's something that a lot of people will notice. Obviously that's something, it feels significantly smoother on an NVIDIA GPU. But this is only 1080p. We also tested 1440p, so let's look at that. Taking a look at 1440p, we are losing about 75 FPS, so 354 on the 4090 versus around 275 on the 6900 XT. As you can see, on the 4090 we're 30% GPU bound, while on the 6900 XT we're 99% GPU bound. You are losing a good bit of performance in the 4s for the GPU on the 4090 versus in the 2s for the 6900 XT. This is where you're definitely going to see that AM dip come in, as it's known. You're going to see a good amount of stutters here. This is where your performance will be limiting, especially in these higher resolution parts of the game. But obviously, we're not here just to look at a benchmark. We're here to actually talk about the game. So let's go into the game where results get very interesting and we need to talk. All right, so here we are with 1080p. And as you can see, the 6900 XT is actually winning. Now, this does actually continue into 1440p. I'll tell you guys this. As you can see in the background, you can see the comparisons of the benchmarks running and some of the FPS. One thing I will say, the 6900 XT is using significantly more GPU usage. 6900 XT is using about 90+% GPU usage the whole time, while the RTX 4090 is using honestly about 50%. As a lot of people may or know, once you get into about the 90% range on GPU usage, you start to have a couple of issues. You will be noticing slightly less kind of stutteriness at times. The benchmarks don't show this, but you do get weird stutters at times. I have no idea why it doesn't show up in benchmarks, but you can definitely feel it. The 6900 XT wins in every way, but so close. And also, let me explain this. The 6900 XT literally had one of the amazing drops. The landing spot was at the very top. My benchmark spot's near the kind of the bottom right. 4090 every time never got that good of a drop, meaning there were always people around, kind of messing with the benchmarks, but it was getting to the point where I had benched for about 3 hours. All right, here we are with 1440p, and as you can see, the 6900 XT wins again in anything but the 0.1% lows, where the 4090 wins heavily. Everything else kind of ties. Average FPS is a little higher on the 6900 XT. This is where you see AMD's architecture really showing. They want you to see those really high average FPS. You know why? Because that's what makes them look better, especially on mainstream benchmarks. 4090, it's very consistent. It tries to keep those lows a lot higher, and that's one thing you'll notice. Now let's talk about some of the issues we had, not only just some weird stuttering. I wish I was kidding. The 4090 took me probably 30 minutes to get my benchmarks. This card took me multiple hours just to get the benchmark itself to load. The Modern Warfare 2 benchmark, that took 2 minutes on the 4090. I was using the latest optional driver because that's the one that says support for Warzone 2. I kept black screening, or it just wouldn't load and they would throw an error. It was honestly the worst experience I've had with an AMD product ever. It was not like this when I had the 6900 XT. These newer drivers are significantly going downhill, and this is not looking good for the brand new RDNA 3 GPUs, such as the 7900 XTX. A lot of people are looking at these, oh, it's a 4080 killer, it's a 4090 killer. If what I experienced on this card happens on launch day with the 7900 XTX, people will not buy this card. For example, even competitive players are literally saying these things. Strafe said a couple of days ago on Twitter, never using an AMD card again. He had the same GPU as me. Now he moved to a 4090. I am not kidding. Competitive players are fed up with AMD's driver team. AMD, focus on making better drivers. That's how you're going to get the market share. No one wants to buy a GPU that you're going to have to spend 12 hours tuning just to get something that NVIDIA does out of the box. I know you might be getting lower performance with NVIDIA, but is it really worth your sanity? I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. For every 6900 XT enjoyer, let me know your experience with these GPUs. Are you having weird issues as well, or is this just something I received? There are people in my Discord, definitely people who are hardware nerds, didn't have issues, but they're hardware nerds, so whatever. But I had zero issues with the 4090. Let me know if this video helped you out. One thing I'd recommend, though, maybe trying older drivers, reinstalling, fresh installing, all that stuff. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.